like to work with Scooter Braun on Shepherd?
Yeah, it was a trip. Like, he's very busy. I remember getting a text from him at 6 a.m, and it's like, it's Scooter, call me. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay, yeah, and
number not saved in your phone, I imagine.
Yeah, exactly, and I think his approach is like he loves to do cool shit and like pick up stuff that's moving, like he did with Size, Shepard, and I think he saw the J Balvin thing moving and likes to be associated with these songs that he sees as being real breakthrough hits. I think that's a real calling card for him. So in that growth phase, like he's very connected. He's able to pick up the phone and speak to Ellen or Jimmy Fallon, or he understands how to break a top-end pop record at radio in the US, which is a very complicated picture and costs a lot of money. So in terms of being able to move the obstacles out of the way that we needed to get that investment from an international label to really push it properly at top 40, he knew how to navigate that space. But at the same time, the band was the band, and we had to continue to deliver music and make sure that we were providing the infrastructure under it all so that he could go and do that thing. But it's a very specific skill set and something that I learned a lot kind of being in that camp whilst that was all going on, and just seeing the way that the top operator in the world essentially thinks about and considers music and considers marketing and the things that are important from a fan base point of view. It just helped us shift our focus, and that's the carryover to City Pop Records in a way. It's like, well, let's look at the way that Scooter does it, or Dre does it, or someone like that. It's all very song-led, it's all fan-led. If you don't have that backing it up, then it's hard to do anything. You can be as creative or spend as much money as you like, but he always would refer back to, do we have the right song, and would build songwriting teams around the artist to make sure that we had more than enough songs to choose from, so that we were going out there putting 10 out of 10 tracks into the market. And I think that approach is the kind of thing that needs to happen more across the industry, generally speaking. It was just interesting to kind of like get a peek under the curtain and see what like someone like that at that top end of town is doing.
What was the one thing you learnt from him? The one thing that you just will carry with you for the rest of your career?
He's very fearless, and he is all about doing cool shit. So if it doesn't feel cool, if it doesn't feel exciting, then he's not really interested. And I think a fan base responds to cool shit. So whatever that it might mean, Post Malone with tattoos all over his face, or it might be some collab video or something that like a fan base is responding to. But he's always like, how do we make it cool? How do we make it exciting? I think that's the big carryover now. It's like, if we're at a juncture, we're like, which way should we go? It's like, let's lean into something that's a bit exciting, because that's going to get people interested. That's going to have people have an emotional connection to it, feel something, if that makes sense. So he's all about that. And the other thing I'd say is the A&R is everything. And if you don't get that right, then you're kind of pushing shit uphill, for the lack of a better way to describe it. So if you're not right there, if you don't do the time, if you don't get the artist in the studio writing hits, it's very hard to push an agenda if you're kind of working on songs that aren't quite there.
What was that first phone call like? How did he pitch to you? Did you believe it was him? What was that conversation like on the initial phone call? Yeah,
it was weird. Like, it was, he talked a lot and told me, what he thought I wanted to hear. And
hang on, what does Scooter Braun say when he's trying to sell himself?
It's like, bro, I came across this song, like, it's so great, like, bro, it's like, we can do all this cool shit, like. So that was kind of it. It was like, he was just excited, and I think he knew that I knew that who he was, so it was an easier conversation for him to have. But it wasn't a long phone call. It was kind of like, I'm going to put you in touch with my people, and we're going to have like blah, blah, blah. And he ended up flying some of us over to LA to hang out with him. And and everything was moving really quickly for us with the song and the band in Australia at that point as well. So it was about being able to quickly connect all the dots and make it viable for him to get involved in a way that was not going to hold it up, because we had momentum and we didn't want to lose that. So we tried to get rid of all the obstacles to actually make that happen and work out a deal and work out a partnership and figure out how that would work.
What do those commercial terms look like?
Well, he had a percentage of the. So he did a deal with Universal, who was our label for ex-Australia, New Zealand.
Atlantic, wasn't it?
Universal, and went through Republic
Republic.
yeah.
Sorry, yes.
So the home label's Decca in the UK. The US partner was Republic. So Schoolboy, his label, did a deal with Republic, 50-50, I believe, like a JV partnership. And he runs a lot of other artists like Ariana through Republic as well. So he already had that infrastructure set up. So he basically said to Universal, look, I want to do this. I want to put it under Schoolboy. We can be a partner on it. And then on the management, we negotiated a percentage for, I think it was like ex-Australia on the management commission as well.
Was there any part of you that were worried you'd get pushed out?
Oh, I mean, we also were very careful in, and this was something that we argued about for a couple of weeks, making sure that all of his rights came through us. So there wasn't a mechanism that he had to speak or to engage and partner directly with the artist. So we made that very clear from the start that this runs via our agreement with the artist, and you're not going to contract with them directly. So we just took that off the table straight away.
Would it have been a deal breaker for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think if we might have done the label deal with him, but I think on the management side of things, like we were very careful to not upset the apple cart there. And we've, had similar conversations with other bands over the time, and we haven't been able to progress them because, that other manager wanted to have the direct relationship. But I think it's too important to maintain that relationship with the artist and to maintain that authority, I guess, with respect to our agreements, because that's exactly what can happen. Someone can come in, take all the credit for something that's moving, and then operate to work their way out, or that maybe the band sees it a different way, or they see the success in America being all down to Scooter or someone like that. And we just wanted to remove that temptation. Like it might have been a little bit of paranoia, but I don't think so. I think it was just a reasonable thing to offer. And if he was going to deliver what he was going to deliver, then there's no problem. Like we all win, and he's growing the pie by more than the piece that he's taking away, as a John Watson would say.
Yep.
And then we're all happy. So I think building that, and we've done the same thing with Dre, for instance. It's like we've got mechanisms in there that, if he does what he says he's going to do, then there's no problem. And it's just, you want those contracts to be in place for the situation where something does go awry, or the band changes their opinion, or something along those lines. Like whatever storms you can foresee in the future, we're kind of, we're cool with whatever happens.